Good morning, listeners. How are you? This is Jim the Keys, bartender, coming to you from Key Largo. It is a beautiful day. It's nice and cool. We're looking at mid-70s. We had a little front move in into some dry air. It's a pleasure. I hope you're doing well from wherever you are. It says, and we're in a kind of a little... I guess there's a slowness going on here because we're in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. They call the week between Christmas and New Year's Hell Week. There's so many people down here for it. If you think about it, in the continental United States, there's a couple places that are warm and temperate. And the Keys are one of them. I mean, I guess you got Hawaii. You got and other places, but we get our share. We do get our share, and even though we expected a kind of a busy weekend, we didn't get that busy a weekend. We did all right though, and we're still open. The restaurant, the Catch Restaurant at 102. If you're ever in the area, please come and see us. We get a lot of our snowbirds coming back. That's a real interesting scenario when you have the snowbirds coming back. For someone like me, the problem with me and snowbirds is I don't remember the last time I seen people. Sometimes it seems like it could have been a week, it could have been 8 months. I have this time dysplasia, I guess you call it aphasia, something, where I'm not sure when the last time I spoke to someone. I know, it sounds kind of weird. And they come in, and if I don't make a big deal, they're coming in, it could lead people to think that they're, what would you call it? Like they're not important to me. And they are. I just think maybe because they're the forefront of my mind all the time. Like some of these regulars we talk about, we think about. When we talk about it in a nice way. We have friends from New York coming in. Erie, Pennsylvania, Jen and Desiree, snowbirds. They're going to be here shortly. We have Steve and Doug. Doug's the guy, he's real gravelly voice. They're two brothers. They come down here, and Doug keeps on, you still doing your blog? You're still doing your blog? And I try to explain it to him. Blog's written, podcast is audio, sometimes video. But it's like, are you watching the book? No, you read a book. You listen to podcasts, you watch videos, and listen. So that's it. That's it for that. The snowbirds are coming in. It's picking up at my exercise classes. There's a thing. I work, and it's kind of confusing, and I know it's not an anomaly. It's not weird for people to work a lot of different jobs. The one I spend the most hours on is my bartending job. About close to 40 hours a week. And then it's 2 to 5 hours on the spin classes. Well, this week I'm filling in for another instructor, so I'm doing 4 classes, and tomorrow I'm doing a wedding. I'm right after I do the spin class, about an hour. I go and take a shower, get ready, blah blah blah, and I go to someone's house and they're getting married. There's not going to be a big. I don't know who's going to be there, but I think it's only going to be the two because I know I'm going to be the witness. So I imagine there's no one else going to be there when this couple gets married. But I'm doing it. It's within a mile of where I work out, which works pretty good. So I do the bartending, and then I have the spin, and then I'm doing my notary stuff, like the marriage. And the notaries can marry people in Florida. I do have a it's funny, I do have that, I did get ordained in the Universal Life Church. So I can kind of use that, but I use the notary. I use the notary thing to really do the things here. But at the Universal Life Church one, I can do it anywhere, really, if I'm a minister. I could be the most reverend. I mean, I'd probably want to be called the most Reverend Jim. Because there was a Reverend Jim. Who was it? Reverend Jim? I don't know. The guy in Georgetown. When I say Georgetown, not in Washington, D.C., Georgetown, Guyana. That was a Jim Jones. Kind of dark. I shouldn't say that. So, you know, with the weather being so nice, I do appreciate having the windows open. But the one drawback is you hear everything. And I don't know if you hear that poor dog next door barking. It's just been barking the last 20-25 minutes. So how was your Thanksgiving? Are you done eating your turkey? God damn it. I didn't have that big a turkey, and we still have turkey in the fridge. I'm ready to just toss it out. But I always feel guilty when I waste food. I'm a leftover eater. I'm not an overeater. I'm a leftover eater. If you took the last part, it sounds like an overeater. I used to be an overeater. But then again, I used to burn a lot of calories at the same time. I don't burn as many calories as I do, so I got to watch what I eat. And there's only so many days you can eat turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes, and there was only 2 of us really eating turkey in the house. So I'm getting over that. So this time of year is loaded with turkey, mashed potatoes, snowbirds, and I got a new thing coming up. Today, I did my normal routine. It was a Monday. I called my father up in Dover, Delaware. We talked briefly. I checked. I have an appointment coming up in the next hour and a half. I'm going to go to that, a dentist appointment. And as I had a coffee. I had it in one of these thermal cups, so I'm finishing my coffee. And as I'm drinking my coffee, a car I did not recognize. I heard it pull up and pulled in my driveway. So I'm sitting there. I see the people. I go walking out, and it's a woman. I'm not going to speculate on her age. When a woman and a man, and it turns out, she goes, "Do you have a room for rent here?" And I go, "No." And she says, "I think I was supposedly talking to your daughter." And I said, "Wow, my daughter was trying to rent her room out." And then she showed me a picture. It wasn't my daughter. It was a phone number. Well, I'm going to tell you. It was a picture of a girl, and her last name was Elizabeth. It was a non-driver's license photo, because the picture was oriented differently on the card for a Florida license, but she had a Chicago Google number, which should tell you that could be a scam. And she mentioned something, the woman that was coming by to see it, she said it said 556 in Key Largo, my address. And it said there was going to be a key that they could come in and look at it. So what people do, the scam I heard of was people would put, because of the price, especially this time of year, how dear the prices are how expensive the prices are to rent, that people will do, like a weekly rental and say $300, just send it to, or $200, send it to, some outrageous thing, and you can rent it for a couple weeks and stuff. They're looking for, this scam was directed at people that were looking for more long-term rentals. People that were looking for a room to rent, and it's for people that work down here. It's hard to get a whole property, because a whole property could cost you $2,000 a month, and not every job can handle that kind of payment for that. So people rent rooms. I had a friend who worked at the restaurant next to mine, and when I first met him, I went and picked him up. We were going out and meet some people and all that stuff. And I I went to the house to pick them up, and it was a group house. And it was a combination of several trailers stuck together, like 2 trailers and a third one coming off the side, and a modular hodgepodge of one house. And I went up there and I saw all these cars, and I said, how many people, when he came out, how many people live there? Well, I have the biggest room. And they said, well, how many rooms are there? And he goes, there's 4 rooms, 4 bedrooms. And, oh, you have 4 people. He goes, well, no, there's 1 couple, so 5 people. He goes, yes, and there's other spaces. Other spaces? What do you mean? Well, we got a large walk-in closet. And I said, well, what about the large walk-in closet? Someone's sleeping in the large walk-in. I said, that's 6 people. And then he says, in the living room, there's someone sleeping on the couch. And I go, what? Yeah. That's the keys. That's what's happened. See, yeah, they have these people. They sublet houses and stuff like that. And they, this one isn't necessarily sublet. It was an owner. And if they do it right, you know, if they charge like $500-600 a month for rent, they could end up getting $2,500 a month for a property that isn't worth $800 a month or $900 a month. It's just so surprising. People are willing to get their minimum accommodations met. I guess that would be the problem. They need a minimum amount of accommodations. They need a bed to sleep, and they need a shower. And a place they can maybe cook their food. But it's so gross when you live with people and they're not so, you know, people don't have the same hygiene habits or the cleanliness habits, do they? They just, some people are sloppy, other people are more picayune. Just, you know, I lived in a dorm, a co-ed dorm in Philadelphia, and the one floor I lived on, it was one half, it was kind of like a big semicircular building, or kind of, I think it was a semicircular building, and about a third of an arc of a circle. And one side, there was 40 rooms on each, I think there was 40 rooms on each floor. If I get that right. About 40 rooms. 10 on each side of the hallway on each half. And one side was all ladies, and one side was all guys. And in the center was the elevators and the common room. And in the end of each hallway, of each corner side, there was a kitchen and bathrooms. So the bathrooms with the showers and all that stuff for women, and the bathrooms and showers for all guys. Now, they were disgusting, especially on the weekends. The bathrooms were disgusting. I hated them. And the kitchens, the way people would come home, drink, and they just never learned. Some people never learned to clean up after themselves. And they just feel, and they've always done that. They've always done it. If you're doing a group living environment, there's people that have different motivations. You know, some people would be embarrassed to say, I don't want to be the slob to do it. But then when there's a mess, when there's a group, you're living in a group environment and there's a mess, and you decide not to take care of it yourself because you don't want to be the one cleaning up other people, people just add to it. And it just gets worse and worse and worse. When something's pristine and everyone seems... You hardly ever see that in the military, because if you get caught in the military doing it, there's be serious disciplinary reaction to that. You know? Maybe, KP duty, cleaning the latrine or the head, depending on what you want to call it, right? What service the head. So this group living thing, I just didn't get it. And this lady knew it, that was a scam, because the girl showed up, she texted a picture of herself with a driver's license, and it wasn't this address, but she did text this address. So what they do is they try to catch someone, they try to collect money, and what they're trying to do is get posted to like a Cash App or something like that. Oh, you can pay me the installment for this. Here's the room. Take a look. I mean, I think most people know right now. I think most people know, but an important thing for a lot of these people is that they just pick a place that's occupied that might, I mean, I don't know, that might be, I mean, they could pick any house, and they picked this house for the address. And I called, obviously, I got the number. I said, could you give me that number? And I called the number. I heard it was a Google number. I texted him. I said, stop telling people to go to 556 Palm. But that Google number's gone now. I'm sure that person's not doing that anymore on that number. Because once it falls through, Google's going to cancel that number. Say, hey, I'll just say, hey, there's a scam going on at this number. And they'll call up that person and take it away. Oh, that'd be the good. I'll make a complaint. So I hope they didn't put the wrong number in. If you put in a third party phone number on a business transaction, that's crazy, And I guess there's a lot of scams like that. People say they have businesses and they said, I'll send you this and I'll do that. They make a promise. And there's people that will send money. There's desperate people out here. A lot of times it's hard to cheat an honest man. But desperate people are grasping at straws sometimes. So they're not dishonest. They're just looking for an inexpensive place to live down here. And sometimes people could be desperate and they say, well, listen, I'll take it. But, it's funny. I don't think it's necessarily the best use of a scam. And if you're a listener, I know you're not going to pull. The best use of a scam is for vacation rentals. Because people when they're doing vacation rentals, they have the disposable income to go on vacation. If someone's looking for a long-term rental, because they're working down here, they're not. They're not going to go and send money. I mean, they shouldn't be sending money. It's probably the poorest motivation to send money. You say, well, listen, I need a place to live. Could you send me money and I'll have that room ready for you? Yeah, sure. No. They've been to the races. They've seen the circus. They don't need to do that. Well, you did notice I did tell you I got my Christmas tree this year from Publix, and I pretty much have been panned for the shape of my Christmas tree and my tactic of not untying it. When I say not untying it, not getting the string off it when I'm picking it up and taking a look. I just want to get the tree and get out. And it's the first year. And it's a skinny tree. It's not perfect shape. Just the way it is. So let go. Bygones be bygones. You got to decorate the tree. Otherwise, what's the purpose? Why was the tree cut down if no one's going to take it? So I'm going to take it. I mean, it's almost like one of those lineups when you're in the playground and you got two sides and you're supposed to pick. And then all of a sudden say, give me the pasty colored kid with, that has a body like a pear. And he's wearing his hat. He's wearing his hat a bit askew. Not because it's cool. Just because he doesn't wear his clothes that way. And you just pick him first. That's the way to do it. And you know what? If you pick a team like that and you end up winning, that's even better. I think the same thing with a tree. You just pick the tree, and in the end, you're going to love the tree. Or like a dog. I mean, we lost our dog a couple weeks ago. We had to put her to sleep because she wasn't doing too well. I mean, wasn't doing well at all. She was going through seizures. But that's why I don't drive by right now. I don't drive by the shelters, the animal shelters. We need to go like 8 months maybe without a dog, or 9 months. Oh, who's this? I'm going to have to take this call. Well, let me take this call. Hello, this is Jim. This is he.
Hello, this is Erica with Health Insurance on a recorded line. You've submitted a health insurance request with us before, and I just
Erica, can I talk to you later?
product that I
Okay, so that's a... Okay. Boy, I think that was a recorded message. I was looking for a health plan, and I got this recording from Erica because I said, I'm sorry, can I talk to you later? I see a number come in I'm not familiar with. I know I'm taking a call on the air, but I'm just waiting. There's so many scams. I'm thinking, can I get another one maybe? Can I get another one? That would be great. I'm just wondering if this person's going to be using 556 as an address. They may just pick another address. They arbitrarily picked an address. And I didn't say what street I'm on. I guess you could find it if you really wanted to look for it. But no, we're not renting a room. We're not renting my daughter's room. No. We're not going to stop. Yeah. That would be really interesting. That would be really interesting that we come in there. If it was that would have been something else. I wonder if other people do that. It's like, I'm just going to rent a room in your house. If you're not going to give me money, I'll just get some money from people. Who knows? Well, today's my day off. I have to go to the dentist. And a lot of I started talking about how I'm filling in this week for another instructor. And the thing about it with me is that I get calls for do things on dates and times, and I don't know automatically if you send me, I need someone on the 2nd, I don't know automatically what the 2nd is. So if you're going to say December 2nd, you're going to say Thursday, December 2nd, 9 a.m. If I'm at my other job, I'm bartending, I don't have time to look at the calendar. I don't have time to talk. I can see it. I'm looking at it. I got to think about it for a while, what I'm doing that day. I can't just say yes right away because, like tomorrow, what if I had the wedding at a Tuesday at 9 a.m.? That would be an odd time to have a wedding, though. A little odder than 11 a.m. on a Tuesday, which is when the wedding is. I'm performing a wedding. It's only going to be 3 of us. I've done a couple big ones. I like the big ones. That's what she said. No, I do like the big weddings. I like the small ones. I like the informal ones. It's always fun. People are happy. I like doing a lot of the real estate signings because people are buying houses. I like that. That's pretty neat. There's nothing exciting like having someone selling a house or buying a house. Selling a house is sometimes sad. I guess you're getting rid of them. Buying a house, very exciting. Buying a car, things like that. The thing that's taken the joy out of it, though, for me, with not the weddings or anything like that, is these online services that they're signing services. And what they do is title companies or loan mortgage companies, they contact them and they offer them money for them to get a signing agent in a place they don't have an office. Let's say a title company, they're in Ohio and they need to get someone down in Key Largo to sign papers. They contact a signing service so they don't have to call down. I understand it's a convenience, but I'll tell you, the signing service is going to take about 30 to 50% of the fee and keep it for themselves. And then they're going to try to give the remainder to the notary. Now, the notary used to get all that money. And now you have another party asking you to come in, and they have different requirements. You're not talking directly to the signing company. You're talking to the signing service. So they ask you for everything. They ask you for scans, to scan documents back. They ask you to make sure, anything that the primary company that initially set out the bid, they'll send you their requirements. But then when you have something in between, they're getting more detailed, and they'll say they're offering you less money and they have more requirements, and they say each time you screw up, you could end up not getting paid. And on top of it, most of them are net 30, some of them are net 60 or 90. So they're paying you less and they're making you wait for your pay. And I get these bids all the time, and I keep on turning back. Why you don't pay enough? And say, well, these are where the bids are coming from. I said, well, I don't have to do it. I have different jobs. I don't have to take it. I'll take it when they call me up. When they call me up and do it, then, hon? When they call me up and my wife just walked in, I'm doing a live podcast. I love you. So, where was I? When you tell people, I say, this isn't my primary source of income, but I like doing it. I like to be thorough, and I like to be dealing with the primary company. I like talking directly to the title agent, things like that. You can go and pay people half of what they're worth and see what kind of, eventually they're going to just say, this isn't worth it. This isn't worth it. It used to be a really lucrative job. Now, and someone else decided to siphon off some of the resources, the money that's available for the signing. And now they're getting people that are less motivated to do the work. When you're talking about this way, the COVID, the great walkout, they call it. Well, people are walking out of their jobs. The jobs when they're making the same amount of money or a little more than they were making before. So how's that going to work with people that are making less? And people are walking out of jobs that pay the same or more. If you're going to offer less, you're going to get less takers. You're going to have less. There'll always be new people, but there won't be. Listen, there's the attraction for becoming a notary and doing it when the price doesn't go up and the signing companies decide to do it. I'm not bitching about that. It's just the law of average in capital, supply and demand. Supply and demand. So the same thing happened in restaurants. We still can't. They raised we get more we're getting money in our checks now. A lot of people weren't used to getting money in their checks when they passed the law in Florida. The minimum hourly wage of servers went up. They don't have to pay them $2.15. They're up maybe 2.5 times that, or 3 times. The minimum wage went up. People are actually getting checks for the hours they work. It's a pain in the ass. So with the minimum wage, what were we saying? We were talking $2.15 earlier. Now it's up to $7. If there's a 6-hour shift, that's $42. If you can get if you can get a robot server rent it for $25 a day, lease it. You probably work out a little better, but the capabilities of it. We were talking about when I was leaving the gym. I saw someone with a restaurant T-shirt, and the T-shirt had the name of a restaurant where they hired. You don't hire robot servers yet, but they leased robot servers. And the owner said to the person, when the person asked, why didn't you advertise in the local papers and say this stuff? And he says, well, I didn't want to start out using robot servers and then get a big inundation with customers before I knew how these would work out. Makes total sense. And the person said, oh, and he's talking about how much it costs and how expensive it is. It's not that expensive. If you need 4 servers or 4 robots, now in Florida, the price is cheaper for the 4 robots. Each robot is working 5 hours a day, and they work longer. Actually, I'm sure they all work doubles, right? And again, they got to charge them about a certain amount of time. They got food robots and they got drink robots. That's what the person said. They got food and drink person. And one of the other people we were doing this with at this conversation said, "Oh, I didn't expect when they showed a picture of it. I didn't expect them to look like that. I expected them to look more human. They will eventually look more humanoid." But it's coming. I keep on saying that. I'm not saying they're good or bad. It's just the way it is. Technology replaces people. And eventually that will be. I understand that with the bartender. And they all have an AI doing, and they'll be the first AI podcast. That would be interesting. I can get an AI co-host right now. I don't know what the rules is of that. If I would have to get to license it. I mean, you can record. Can you propagate the voice of the Google AI or the Amazon AI or Replica AI and just use it? Or do you have to get permission? If you can say, I say to the Replica and say, listen, Replica is a virtual friend. Yeah. But you can ask them and say, hey, can I use your voice in a podcast? And they'll say yes. But you're really supposed to ask the developer, not the artifact. Because if the artifact, I'm thinking legally, eventually you're going to say, well, is the AI the one making the agreement, or is the developer the one making the agreement? If the developer designed the AI, it should design in there and say, listen, if you get any request to license or use your voice, you better refer them back to our company before saying yes. Because they'll say yes really easy to almost anything. You'd be surprised. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. It's a shorter show today. I know it's Monday, but I got to eat some breakfast and I have to do my dentist appointment. I'd like to thank all of you for listening to the podcast. I'd like to thank you for the extra downloads. Please download more episodes. The more episodes you download, the better our rankings, the more varied our rankings and things like that. And the places where they've downloaded a lot, I'm getting more listeners in those states, and I thank you. We can, I haven't had any listeners in Ketchikan, Alaska recently, but I think there was a listener of Sophie in Ketchikan, Alaska. And I'll put that in there. I think she's moving into Sophie, yeah, I won't say her last name. But if it's in Ketchikan, Alaska, they will know who that is, I think. And they're moved down to Key Largo. I do appreciate you for listening. Please share this with your friends, family, people you know. People, if you have friends, hey, you may be you may like solitude. Who am I to suggest anything? Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please send your questions to jim@keysbartender.com. Thank you very much and have a great day.